You are in the shower. You are not trying to solve anything. And that is when the idea shows up. The one that 3 days at your desk could not produce. Here is what nobody tells you. The shower did not give you that idea. Your brain finished it hours ago. It was waiting for you to stop looking. That sounds like an excuse to skip the hard work. It is not. The desk time mattered. You were told good ideas come from effort, that if you cannot think on demand, your process is broken. That diagnosis is wrong, and by the end of this video, you will know how to collect finished answers on demand. Your creative process is not unreliable. It is running on a different schedule than you were told it should. Think about how a search engine works. You type a query. The results do not appear because you are thinking harder in that moment. They appear because an enormous amount of indexing and processing happened in the background before you ever typed anything. The search was not happening when you pressed enter. The search was happening the whole time. Your brain works the same way. When you focus on a problem, you are feeding information into a system that will continue processing long after you look away. And when you step into the shower, when your mind goes quiet and the demands drop away, the processing does not stop. It surfaces. The results arrive. Your shower ideas are not accidental. They are the output of a background system, doing exactly what it was designed to do. You are not disorganized. Your brain is a search engine, and the shower is where the results appear. And this system has one feature that almost nobody uses on purpose. Hold that thought. I will come back to it. Because once you see what your brain is actually doing in that moment, you will never call it luck again. The first concept is what neuroscientists and learning researchers call the diffuse thinking mode. Barbara Oakley, a professor whose work on learning has influenced neuroscience education worldwide, describes two fundamental modes of brain operation. The first is the focused mode. This is the state you are in when you are actively working on a problem. Your attention is directed. Your prefrontal cortex is engaged. Your thinking is precise, sequential, and narrowly targeted. This is the mode your desk is designed to produce. The second is the diffuse mode. This is the state you are in when your attention is not directed at anything specific. A shower, a walk, washing the dishes, driving on a familiar route. In diffuse mode, your brain is not locked onto any single thread. It is free to roam. And because it is free to roam, it can make connections between ideas that the narrow focus of the focused mode never could. You already know this feeling in a smaller form. A name sits on the tip of your tongue. You strain for it, and it will not come. You give up, start talking about something else, and 30 seconds later, the name simply arrives. You did not find it. Your brain delivered it the moment you stopped blocking the door. The creative breakthroughs that happen in diffuse mode are not random. They are connections your focused mind could not make because it was too busy looking at one thing at a time. The shower works because it is one of the most reliable diffuse mode triggers available. Warm, familiar, low demand, and just stimulating enough to keep your mind gently active without pulling it back into focus. And that is not even the strange part. The second concept is what creativity researchers call the incubation effect. The idea that when you consciously step away from a problem and engage in something unrelated, the unconscious mind continues working on it. Wallas, one of the earliest researchers to map the stages of creative thinking, identified incubation as a distinct and essential phase. His model described 4 stages. Preparation. You actively work on the problem and absorb relevant information. Incubation. You step away and let the unconscious mind process. Illumination. The insight arrives, often suddenly and in an unrelated context. Verification. You test and refine the idea. The problem is that most people skip incubation entirely. They move from preparation directly to desperate forcing. They stay in focused mode long past the point of diminishing returns, grinding against a problem that would yield more readily if they simply stepped away. The shower is not where you are avoiding the work. It is where incubation is completing. The insight was being built while you focused. The shower is just where it finally surfaces. But here's the part that changes everything. The third concept comes from neuroscientists Mark Jung-Beeman and Kounios, whose research mapped what actually happens in the brain in the moments before a creative insight arrives. Using EEG and fMRI imaging, they studied the neural signature of the aha moment. What they found was unexpected. In the seconds before a sudden creative insight, a burst of high-frequency gamma wave activity appears in the right temporal lobe of the brain. This burst is the neural signature of two previously separate ideas connecting. The sudden integration of information from across the brain. And what Jung-Beeman and Kounios also found is that this burst is significantly more likely to occur when the brain is in a relaxed, internally focused state, not when you are stressed, pushing hard, or under pressure. Stress narrows attention. Pressure locks you into focused mode and shuts down the peripheral processing that produces creative connection. The shower, the walk, the moment of staring out of a window. These are not distractions from your creative process. They are the conditions your brain needs to produce the neural event that creative insight actually requires. You are never wasting time. You are creating the conditions. Understanding this changes how you should approach your hardest problems. These three tools help you use the way your brain actually works, rather than fighting it. The first tool is called the incubation window. Most people treat stepping away from a problem as giving up. The incubation window reframes it as a deliberate phase of the creative process. When you have worked on a problem to the point of diminishing returns, when the ideas have stopped coming and you are just staring, do not push harder. Schedule an incubation window. A period of low-demand activity specifically chosen to give your diffuse mode the space to process. This is not procrastination. Procrastination is avoiding the problem before you have done the preparation work. Incubation is stepping away after you have loaded the system to allow the unconscious processing to complete. The preparation feeds the search engine. The incubation window lets it run. A window does not need to be long. 20 to 30 minutes of walking, tidying, or making a meal is often enough for a fresh connection to surface. The one requirement is that you load the problem first. Spend real focused time with it. Read the notes, hit the wall, then leave. When you return to the problem, you are not starting over. You are collecting what the background processing produced while you were away. The second tool is called the capture protocol. The reason shower ideas disappear is not that your mind is unreliable, it is that insight memory is fragile. The aha moment arrives suddenly and fades quickly if not immediately captured. Your brain produces the result, but does not automatically file it for later retrieval. The capture protocol means having something within reach of wherever your diffuse thinking happens. A notes app on the phone set on the bathroom shelf. A voice memo button accessible before you dry your hands. A small notebook near the places where ideas tend to find you. The moment the idea arrives, capture it immediately. Not after you finish the shower, not after you dry off. The moment it appears, your brain produces it. Your capture protocol keeps it. And once a week, read back through what you captured. Half of what you find will be better than you remembered. The third tool is called the diffuse trigger map. The shower works for many people, but it is not the only diffuse mode trigger. Your personal triggers are specific to you. For some people, it is walking, specifically on familiar routes where navigation is automatic. For some, it is washing dishes, folding laundry, or making coffee. For some, it is driving on a road they know well. For some, it is the minutes just before sleep or just after waking. The diffuse trigger map is a simple inventory of the conditions in which your best thinking tends to arrive unbidden. Not brainstorming sessions, not structured reflection, the places where ideas show up when you are not looking for them. Building the map takes about a week. Each time an idea arrives out of nowhere, note where you were and what you were doing. Patterns show up fast. Most people find they have 2 or 3 reliable triggers they never noticed they were relying on. Once you have the map, you can use these triggers deliberately. Give a hard problem your full focused attention first, then root yourself into one of your known diffuse triggers. And let the system deliver. So, here is what is actually true. Your best ideas do not arrive despite your lack of focus. They arrive because of it. Your brain has been running background queries on every hard problem you have ever handed it, indexing, cross-referencing, looking for connections across the full database of everything you have ever known. And the shower is not where the thinking happens. It is where the results appear. The incubation is not laziness. The diffuse mode is not distraction. The aha moment is not luck. They are all parts of a system your brain runs better than any machine ever built. And remember the feature almost nobody uses on purpose? You just learned it. Focus first, then step away, then capture what surfaces. That is how you run this system deliberately, on your schedule, instead of waiting for the shower to decide. And the next time an idea arrives while you are doing nothing, remember this. Your brain never stopped working. You just finally got out of the way. Now, if you are watching this and realizing that the same mind that quietly solves problems in the background is also the mind that hands you guilt for things you never did, those two things are not a contradiction. They are the same background system running two different scans. One searches for answers. The other searches for what went wrong. The next video explains exactly why that second scan almost never finds real evidence. Click this video right here. I will see you over there.